Okay, guys, am I audible?
Yeah, Dinesh.
Okay. Right. Okay, guys. Listen. So what is it to what we have completed in the previous session?
Logs,
Guys, what we have completed?
logs,
Logs, right? Okay.
yeah,
Logs we have completed.
security and logs.
Okay. Okay. Security also we have completed.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think so. Okay.
Like matrix-based security and project-based security.
Yeah, those security we have completed. Okay. Authentication and authorization we have completed. Okay.
Yes, authorization and authentication.
Yeah. Okay. You know, right, how to add the users and all? How to add the user that I completed, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And okay, so click on submit. Okay, right. So in our today's discussion, so my agenda is to complete two topics. One is I need to complete a master slave architecture, and another one is I'm going to integrate your Maven with Jenkins. So first of all, you need to understand the Maven, and then only I'm going to integrate. But first, very important topic, interview point of view and real-time working point of view, master slave architecture that we are going to cover. How to introduce the master slave architecture in Jenkins. Okay, so only 1 minute, please. Let me. Guys, can someone tell me what do you understand from this term, master slave architecture? So what do you think? What is master? What is slave architecture? What do you think from this term?
Maybe request and
Okay,
response.
request. Yes.
Request and response.
Exactly. Fine. Correct. You are correct. Yes.
Master is like a server.
Yes,
It will control all the remaining nodes.
Yes, super. What else? Anything? Anything else? Aman, you are correct, man. And yes, Jaya also said right. Guys, remember, master slave architecture, it's a kind of, making a relationship between the two or more component, guys. Guys, it is coming from your a normal computer, that will follow some kind of architecture. So here you will deal with two or more components. When I say two or more components, or we can call it as a two or more servers, or we can also call it as a nodes. All are same, right? So what does that means? Remember here, one component will act as master, and another components, maybe a multiple components also. All other component will be act as a slave. One master with one slave, or one master with a multiple slave. We have a one master with a multiple slave, or one master with a one slave. That is nothing but a master slave architecture. Suppose consider in AWS cloud, you have created a multiple EC2 instance. Consider we have a EC2 1 and we have a one more EC2. Right? There are two EC2 you have created. Maybe you can consider this EC2 be a master node and this EC2 may be a slave node. Now the question is, why do we need a master slave architecture? That's the question. Why do we need a master slave architecture? See guys, if you are working in the real time, there are many Jenkins users are available, right? There are many Jenkins users. Say for an example, in your company, There are 100 employees are there. All the 100 employees, they are using the same Jenkins machine. What will happen? Can you tell me? Everyone, if only 1 minute. See, as we know, right, there are two nodes. One is master node and I'm saying slave node. Suppose if you are working in a company, if all the users, they are using the same Jenkins machine, then what will happen? Obviously, the performance will affected, right? Because there is a problem with respect to your scalability. Because master slave architecture allows for scaling your system. Here we are adding the more slave node. Thereby, suppose we can able to distribute the load into the different node, kind of a load balancer. So what we can do? We can create one master machine and we can create a, say for an example, 2 slave node. Here master will only redirect the work, but this 2 slave node, it will take care of the work. Instead of concentrating on only one machine, we can, divert our work or we can distribute our workload into the multiple slave machine. That's the idea behind this kind of a load balancing. The one more problem, right? Suppose if you are using the same Jenkins machine for all the users, if there is a problem, if there is a failure, if it's a single point of failure, what will happen? Everything is ideal, right? Everything is ideal. We cannot, work with this particular operation. We cannot perform. We cannot execute the script. So in that case also, there is a failure. That's the reason in real time, it is suggested that we can go for a master with multiple slave node. Thereby, we can able to distribute the workload instead of, focusing on only a single repository or single server. We can rely on a different server. So the main reason one is load balancing. The another reason is the fault tolerance. Because if a slave component is failed, the master component can redirect the workload to other slave. But if we are using the only one Jenkins machine, if something goes well, if Jenkins is down, then the entire work is gone, right? That's the idea between your and along with the workload also. Maybe suppose if we need a more resources, right? We need to go for only one machine. It is not able to cope up with that particular work, right? Suppose if you are increasing load, if you have required a more load or maybe your infrastructure need to increase like CPU or maybe a RAM and all, maybe we can distribute our workload into the multiple slave machine. As I mentioned, right, there are 2 scaling. One is called horizontal scaling, in a vertical scaling. We basically, rely on one single machine or we can create the multiple distributed machine. Which one is good? Creating a multiple distributed node, right? Instead of focusing on a single machine. That's the idea behind a master slave architecture. So it focuses on load balancing. It is also help us to for scalability and it can able to, do the fault tolerance. Are you clear? What is the master slave?
So scalability means it will automatically create a
Not
node.
automatically, we have to configure.
Okay.
We have to configure on the Jenkins, machine. We have to configure which node that we are going to connect with the master. So basically, master will tell the slave what to do. Master just, it will give the instruction to the slave machine what to do, and the slave will do the work. Simple. Master is a kind of maybe a teacher, right? Slave is a kind of a student. Teacher will give some instruction to the student has to perform, right? In the same way, the master has to tell the slave, what to do, and the slave has to do that particular work. Thereby, this setup allows for the system to handle more work and it will balance the workload and also keep working, even if one of the slave component fail, the master, it will redirect the work to the other slave node. Again, the company has to determine initially itself how many slave node that we are going to integrate with your master. Everything, the company will decide based on their workload, based on their infrastructure, based on their projects, everything it depends. But the idea began here, instead of rely on only one machine, we are going to connect multiple child nodes or maybe a slave node to your master. A master will give the instruction, slave will perform the particular task. Are you clear, guys? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Dilip.
So any question, why do we need a master slave architecture and what is master slave architecture? Here one machine will act as a master, all other machine will act as a slave. So this master, we are going to connect with the multiple slave node with the help of some connectivity, and then your master going to provide the instruction to the slave. Slave has to perform the particular task. Right. Now, I have a question, guys. What is the question? Maybe in the interview, people might ask you, they will ask you how many servers we need to connect to your master. We need to connect to your master in order to make this infrastructure. In order to make this infra, how many minimum node we require in order to connect with your master node to make this infrastructure? Can you tell me how many nodes we require? Minimum nodes?
2.
Exactly, right? Minimum we require 2 nodes. One node should be a master node and the another node should be your slave node. But remember, guys, in real time, it is purely based on the workload. It is purely based on project. It is purely based on what kind of resources that we are going to utilize. What kind of CPU utilization, what kind of RAM utilization, what kind of a memory that you require. It purely depends. But do you know IEEE is one of the standard which is in world who maintains, standard across the world, guys. IEEE is the who maintains the standard across the world, right? For your hardware. These people, they have given some rule, guys. Thumb rule they have given. The thumb rule is, we can call it as 2n+1 rule, or maybe there is a thumb rule they have given. That rule says, right? That rule says you need to use a formula called n+1 divided by 2 to understand how many server minimum you should have in order to make a master slave architecture. Generally, this is a formula to calculate how many minimum server that's required to create an infrastructure, but which is given by IEEE is that they are maintaining the standards, right? Right? WWW, World Wide Web, right? In the same way, WHO, World Health Organization. In the same way, for hardware, there is a IEEE standard in the world. Everyone, they are following this one in order to make a stable infrastructure, stable hardware. But remember, this formula is a generic formula. We cannot say, right, the company every time they are applying this formula. But you should remember, in the interview, maybe people might ask you, what is the minimum server that required? Which formula is provided by the IEEE? Right? Say for an example, if you are thinking like I need a 2 server, company they decide 2 server, then formula should be 2 + 1 divided by 2, which is equal to 3 by 2, which is 1.5. If you round it, which is equal to 2. Then how many server minimum required? This formula says 2. Suppose your company decide 4 server. We need a 4 server to make this stable infrastructure. 4 + 1 divided by 2, which is equal to 5 divided by 2, 2.5. If you round it, which is 3. Minimum, then you have to opt 3 server. Minimum, you should have 3 server. Suppose the company decides 6 server. 6 + 1 divided by 2 and divided by 2. Then minimum, the company should have 7 by 2, which is 3.5. Minimum should be 4. Right? So this formula will tell you what is the minimum number of server that will make your stable infrastructure. And I'm not saying every company they are following this particular formula to make the stable infrastructure. No, not like that. It is purely depends on workload and what is the resources that we require for that particular project. Everything it depends. But what I am saying, maybe in the interview, if they're asking any formula, right? You just tell them there is a rule called n+1 divided by 2. It's a formula to calculate a stable infrastructure. So, do you know a term called a cluster? In Kubernetes, I'm going to teach a term called cluster. Cluster means, what is cluster, guys? What does it mean by cluster?
Multiple nodes.
Yeah, maybe a group of nodes or group of computers working together to achieve the same task. That basically we can call it as a cluster, right? So how many nodes that is going to working together to achieve the same task? In my case, why we are configuring the master and slave architecture? Because I need to perform some task, right? For that reason only I am connecting multiple slave node with the master, right? That maybe we can call it as a cluster. So your IEEE standard says to create a stable cluster, we can use this n+1 divided by 2 formula. But I'm not saying only this particular formula we are using in the real time. But just for interview point of view, IEEE standards. Any questions so far? I need a quick confirmation, guys. Any questions so far?
No, sir.
Dinesh, here if we are taking 2 servers, like if company need 2 servers, so n is 2, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 by divided by 2, again it's coming to 2, right?
No, see 3 by 2, which is a 1.5, right? And we make it as a 2, correct? It's a 2. Then company decide 2 server, they are putting into this particular formula. It says 2, correct only, right? But in some cases, the company they are expecting, maybe in order to make that infrastructure, they required a 6 server. They are just doing the estimation. Now 6 plus 1 divided by 2, 7 by 2, which is equal to 3.5, but which is equal to 4. It means that minimum 4 server to require to make infrastructure. They decided 6, but IEEE says 4.
Okay, their assumption is 6 servers we need, but according to IEEE, 4
At
servers.
least 4. At least 4, correct.
Okay.
This is as per IEEE. But what I mentioned once again, remember, in real time, every time they will not rely on IEEE, but they will make sure, they will have that at least servers. But they will go for more server also based on their workload. IEEE says only minimum count. They are not saying the maximum count. They are not saying any another count, random count and all. Jay, are you clear?
Yeah, Dinesh, clear.
Yes. Now, let's see the practical implementation. Step by step, I will tell you how to do the practical implementation. The first step. In AWS, I'm going to create 2 servers, guys. Step number 1, I'm going to create 2 servers. 2 servers. Maybe 2 EC2 instances I'm going to create. Here, say I'm going to launch 2 EC2 instances. Remember, my EC2 instance 1, I'm going to make it as a master. And I'm going to EC2, which is 2, I'm going to make it as a server. Sorry, no, which is nothing but a slave. Right? My EC2 1 should be considered as a master, and EC2 2, which should be a slave node. And for this, I'm going to use the configuration should be high when compared to slave. So what configuration I'm going to use it? Say I'm going to use the configuration like, say, T2 large, I'm going to use it. But for slave node, I'm going to use T2, say medium. T2 medium. Right, first I'm going to do this thing. So I'm going to launch 2 EC2 instances. One is T2 large and another one is T2 medium. So let me go practical implementation. So I already have an instance, right? See here. I am considering this is my master machine. This is my master machine, which is T2 large. But better, I can create a new instance better. Click on this and click on launch EC2 instance. Here, I'm going to name it as this is master machine. Say master a machine. And then I will use the AMI and browse more AMI. And in the community AMI only that available, say I will open my DevOps, this one. I will use that particular CentOS image, copy this CentOS image and paste it and press enter, and then it will take some time, right? So only maybe I can create the slave machine better. Yep. So come below, and this is one, this one I can select, and then come below. Here I can select, it's a slave machine, right? So I can go with the medium, T2 medium, and keeper I will go with the CentOS keeper. Network settings, no, fine, that's it. Click on launch instance. Launch instance. Now click on view all instances. Here, which one? This one. This one, I'm going to make it as slave EC2, like that. And we have another machine. Which machine I can take it? This is T2 medium. And this one. So this one, maybe I can mark it as master EC2. Now I will start this EC2 instance also. Click on start. So how many EC2 instances we have? There are two EC2 instances. One is master EC2, which is T2 large, and slave EC2, which is T2 medium. Any questions so far? Yes, any questions so far? No? Right. Now, let me connect my master machine. You know, already in my master machine, already I have connected Jenkins and all. So just I'm going to start the Jenkins server. Click on connect, and I will copy this, and I will go with the terminal. Let me maximize cd space downloads / and I will paste it here. Press enter. It will ask you yes or no. I'm going to click on yes. It's a master machine. I'm going to start the server. Sudo space systemctl start my Jenkins server. I'm going to start the Jenkins server. So I will back to my instance. This is my master EC2, right? Same IP address I have taken. Let me check. The IP address 54 and the IP address is 54. Correct. Yes, my server got connected. So I will quickly verify whether server got connected with help of that IP address. I need to copy this and put it here. Put colon 8080 is the port number. And here I need to give the username. Say I'm giving admin is the username, and password I have given also. So now I can able to see Jenkins dashboard. I can see it. Jenkins dashboard. So only I have connected so far a master Jenkins server. I have connected. This is I'm considering as a master machine. I'm going to consider as a master machine. So any questions so far?
No, Dinesh.
Okay, right. So if I ask like, who am I? You know, it's a CentOS server. It's a CentOS machine. I am the CentOS user, right? Now, guys, remember, if you want to connect or integrate your master with a slave, you have to authenticate, right? Basically, you are connecting your master with the slave. Master is going to communicate with the slave. If you want to make the communication between the master and slave, you have to establish one connectivity called SSH connectivity. What's the connectivity name? There is a connectivity called SSH connectivity. SSH connectivity we have to establish between your master and slave. Then only master can be able to connect with your slave machine. Yes, I will ask you one question. Suppose you have launched one EC2 server. If you want to connect your EC2 server from the local machine with help of a command prompt or terminal, which connectivity we are using? Which connectivity we are using? from the local
SSH.
machine?
SSH
Exactly
connect.
right. Basically, we are using the SSH connectivity because Linux server through the SSH we can be able to communicate. In the same way, one master Linux machine that wants to communicate with another machine, then you have to establish SSH connectivity. Because there are three ways, even though we have a SSH connectivity, there are three ways in which master can communicate with the slave. The one way is normal username and password. Using the username and password of the slave machine, the master can communicate with the slave. Say for an example, slave is giving some username password and the master is having that username and password. Through that, master can be able to connect with your slave. So one is simple username and password. Username and password. The another way is, maybe we can call it as three-way handshake. Three-way handshake. It means that, say for an example, your master will send some request to the slave. Master will send some request to slave. Now slave will respond. Slave will give some response. And then master will acknowledge this response. Master will acknowledge this particular response. This is called three-way handshake. Master will send the request to the slave. Slave will send the response to the master. Now master will acknowledge to slave. So this is called a three-way handshake. This way also the master and the slave can be able to connect with the help of SSH connectivity. And there are third way, which is called a passwordless authentication. Passwordless authentication also available. If you ask me what is the passwordless authentication, here what we basically do, in the master machine, right? In the master machine, we are going to generate some key. You know, right? Basically in EC2 machine, we will generate some key pair. In the same way, here also we will generate some SSH key. This SSH key will provide two keys. One is called public key and another one is called private key. This public key will be available. This public key we are going to copy from your master to slave. We basically copy this master public key from the master machine to the slave machine. Through that, we can be able to achieve this passwordless authentication. Through that, we can be able to achieve this passwordless authentication. Why passwordless authentication? Because in real time, say for an example, we are going to connect your master with a multiple slave node. Suppose you are going to distribute your workload from the master to slave. In between, if it is asking the password, you have to give the password, right? But what is the main agenda of automation? Why we are using the Jenkins? Everything should be an automation, right? In between, manually, if you are entering the password, is it automation? No, right? It is not an automation. Why we are going for automation? Because everything should be automated. That's the reason. In between, maybe suppose if I want to install some software, or if I am doing some kind of a troubleshooting, or if any pipeline got set up, in that case, I cannot manually interrupt and I can give the password, right? Then you have to establish a passwordless authentication. So for that, also, we have an option. So I'm going to teach you how to establish a passwordless authentication. But before understanding these three things, you remember, like if you want to make an interaction or maybe a communication from the master to the slave, you have to use the SSH connectivity. But if you want to achieve the passwordless authentication, you have to generate some SSH key from the master machine. It will give you a public and private key. You have to copy the public key from the master to the slave, and then you can achieve the passwordless authentication. Maybe you feel a bit difficult, but when I see the practical, you will understand this thing. Everything I'm going to do practically. So far clear? So far clear?
Clear.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, it is my CentOS machine. Now tell me, it is my master machine. I have a question like, already your Jenkins is installed or not in this particular machine? Jenkins is available or not?
It's there. We have
It
to
is there,
start.
right? Yes, Jenkins is there. That's the reason we have started also already. Suppose if I give Jenkins space icon version, it will tell you, yes, Jenkins is already available. Remember one point, whenever if we install the Jenkins, automatically there will be one new user will be created for your Jenkins. That user we can call it as Jenkins user. Remember, when you install Jenkins in the CentOS machine, at the time of installation, Jenkins user will be created. So if you want to understand any Jenkins users are available or not, for that we have a command called, say for an example, I will write cat space /etc/password. If you write like this, it will tell you how many users are available here. In my CentOS, there is a CentOS user. Along with that, there is a Jenkins user. Can you see here? One user already created, which is called a Jenkins user. At the time of Jenkins installation, one user will be created. That user we can call it as a Jenkins user, and you can clearly see that here Jenkins users and the CentOS user are not available. But if you see the difference, right? CentOS user as a shell called, this is called shell /bin/bash, but Jenkins user as a shell called /bin/false. What is the difference between these two? Guys, if you want to log into your CentOS user, already your shell should be enabled. /bin/bash refers shell is already enabled. That's the reason we have logged in into your CentOS user. But in Jenkins case, your /bin/false refers your shell is not enabled yet. Your shell is not enabled yet. So what I need to do? First of all, I have to enable this /bin/bash. Then only I can able to log into your Jenkins. Without enabling your shell or without enabling your Jenkins, we cannot log into your Jenkins. So for that, you have to change from /bin/false to /bin/bash. Then only you can able to log into your Jenkins. Am I clear? Am I clear? Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, Dinesh.
So I'm going to log into your Jenkins. For that, I need to change the shell. How to change the shell? Let me type sudo change shell, ch. It refers change shell -s. I need to change the shell from /bin/false to /bin/bash. For which user? For Jenkins user. For Jenkins user, I'm going to change the shell from /bin/false to /bin/bash. I'm going to change the shell. So now if we enter, it is saying, right, changing the shell for Jenkins, shell got changed. So if I click clear and if I type cat/ /, I'm writing etc/password. If I type enter, can you see it got changed? It got changed. Now it got changed to /bin/bash. Now only I can able to log into your Jenkins user. Am I clear, guys?
What was the core, command? Sudo ch
Sudo ch space -s /bin/bash and what is the user?
Okay, Dinesh.
Sir, login means we cannot switch like a normal Jenkins user, like sudo.
So yeah, so see, there is a user, right? Root user. If you want to log into root user, basically what we will do? We will write sudo space su, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. If you want to log into CentOS, we have written the SSH command, correct? The same way, if you want to log into your Jenkins user, right? Basically, if you want to log into Jenkins, it should be /bin/bash. If it is not /bin/bash, we cannot log into Jenkins. I will tell you how to log in Jenkins.
Okay.
As of now, we are the CentOS user. We are logged into CentOS. Still, we need to log into Jenkins. We have to log into Jenkins. See, if you want to log into your root, how can I log into root? Simply, you can type sudo space su. If you press enter, I am the root user now. Am I correct?
Correct.
Now, if you want to log into your Jenkins, you have to write su space hyphen space Jenkins. If you type, now I am the Jenkins user. If you want to check who am I am the Jenkins user.
Okay.
Directly, we cannot log into a Jenkins user from the CentOS machine. Why? Because when you log in, right, it will ask you the password. You don't know the password. That's the reason first I am logging as a sudo user, root user. From the root user, I'm logging to Jenkins user. So now I have logged into Jenkins user. As of now, what I did, just I have logged into Jenkins user. That's it. Nothing I've done. But if you want to log in into a Jenkins user, your shell should be enabled. Your shell should be enabled. That's what we did. How we have enabled the shell? By using the chsh command. By enabling chsh command. Everyone clear?
Yes.
Right. Yes, when you practice 1 or 2 times, you will get it, guys. Because these are all Linux command. Only this way only we can able to communicate your master with a multiple slave. Right. Now tell me, guys, I already said, if a master and slave has to communicate in between, which connectivity we have to establish? SSH connectivity. And along with that, if you want to make the passwordless authentication, what we need to generate? SSH key we have to generate. Now, how to generate the SSH key? So there is a command called SSH key. If you want to generate, there is a command called SSH space hyphen key generation. When you use this particular command, we can be able to generate the SSH key. It will give you public and private key. So when you press enter, it is asking what is the file name. Let me go with the default file name. Press enter. Do you want to provide any more password? No, I will go with press enter. I will give enter. That's it. That's it. It generated one key, public and private key. So if you want to prove this one, I will prove. Say, let me clear this. I will clear this. And I will go to a particular location, cd/what, say ls space hyphen al. And here we have one file called library file. Where is the library? Yeah, here we have a library. Say cd. I can type lib cd is that. So I have given only one place. Right, listen. Say what I given cd lib. And then yes. So write ls space hyphen al. Inside the library file, we have one more file called a Jenkins. Is there any Jenkins folder? Yes, we have a Jenkins, right? Jenkins user. cd Jenkins ls space hyphen al. Let me clear ls space hyphen al. Can you see one SSH key got generated? Dot SSH. We have a dot SSH file, right? So if we go inside the dot SSH, we can clearly see there is a public key. This is the public key and this is the private key. So this public key I need to copy from master to slave. This is the public key. I need to copy from master to slave. So if you want a simple command, you can write cd /what/lib /jenkins /.ssh. So here you have that public key and private key. How this public and private key got generated? With the help of SSH space hyphen key gen is the command. Everything is available in the document, guys. You can refer it. SSH hyphen key gen is the command to know, to download or to get some key. Am I clear? Am I clear?
There, sir.
Only this public key we are going to use it in the slave machine. I need to copy this public key from the master to slave. But where is your slave node? Still, I don't have a slave node, right? I need to configure the slave node also. For that, I am going to use another terminal. I will use another terminal. Let me go here and my instance. And let me close it. And this is my slave node. I will copy this. I will type cd downloads / and paste it and press enter and say yes. It will connect to your slave node. It is connected to your slave node. Now tell me, in slave node, do we have Jenkins? Do you have Jenkins? Yes, sir.
We don't have.
Yes, we don't have any Jenkins server. Do you have a Java?
No.
No. So what is the one precondition to install the Jenkins? We need a Java, right?
Java
So
custom.
let me write sudo yum install space -y Java 11 open JDK. It will start installing Java in your machine. Now tell me, guys, do I need to install Jenkins server on the slave node? Yes or no?
Yes, we have
Yes,
to
sir.
install.
Everyone says yes or no.
Yes, Dipesh.
Remember, we no need to install the Jenkins machine on the slave node. Because here we are going to make an interaction from the master to multiple slave. In slave, only we need a users. I don't need a servers. I don't need to install the Jenkins on the slave node. Only I need a users. Remember this point. On the slave node, I'm going to only creating the Jenkins user. I'm not going to install the Jenkins server and all. Here only one server, which is called a master server. This master server is going to connect with a multiple node, not to multiple Jenkins server. I'm not saying it is going to connect with a multiple Jenkins server. I'm just saying it is going to connect with a multiple Jenkins user on the slave nodes. Am I clear? Am I clear? Yes. Once if you install the Jenkins server on the master machine, we received one thing. That user we can call it as what? That user we can call it as Jenkins user, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Same username, I'm going to create it on the slave node now. Same username, I'm going to create it on your slave node. How to create it? How to create one user? Same username which we have used for master, which is called Jenkins. How? With the help of a command called sudo user add space Jenkins is the name which I used in the master. When you press enter, it got created one username. Now let me create a password also. Sudo password for your Jenkins. For your Jenkins. So it will ask you to enter the password. So I will enter some password. And it is asking to enter another, retype the password. I'm entering. That's it. That's it. So if you want to prove this point, let me type cat/etc/password is the command. If I type enter, can you see one Jenkins user got created /bin/bash? Already it got enabled. I no need to change the shell and all here. It is already got enabled. So remember guys, here we are using the Jenkins, right? Here we are using the Jenkins. This username should be same as on the master node. In master node, we have a user called Jenkins user. Same name you have to use it. Do not use other name, it will not work. And one more point, remember, you guys can generate any number of keys, guys, on master machine. For single user, you can able to create any number of keys. Suppose if you are in the master machine, if you are logged in as a Jenkins user, how many keys you can generate? You can create as much you want. Suppose if you are using 100 user, 100 keys you can create it. The key is not depends on your server. Key is depends on user. One user will get one key. For that, say for an example, 100 user will get the 100 keys. Don't think like for one server you are creating key. No, for one server you can create any number of keys. But okay, this point I will come later. Or the master and slave instances are integrated. Still, I didn't copy, right? I didn't copy. Just I have created the user. On the slave node, just I have created user. Still, it didn't integrate. So let me repeat what I have done so far. I have a master node, I have a slave node. In EC2 instance, I have a Jenkins server is up and running. In that, I have checked whether shell is enabled or not. Shell is not enabled. For that, I have used the chsh command to change the shell. Once it is completed, I have logged into Jenkins. Before that, I have made it as a root user. So in order to do the passwordless authentication, I have generated SSH key on the master machine. Still, I didn't copy that master key or SSH key to the slave machine. Just I have logged into the Jenkins user in the slave machine. For that, I have generated what? Username and password. Now, if you check, who am I? I am the CentOS user. Now I need to log into your Jenkins user. How? How to log into your Jenkins user? So for
Switch
that,
user.
sudo space su, right?
Yeah.
And then su space hyphen space
Jenkins.
Now I am the Jenkins user on the slave node. On the slave node, I am the Jenkins user now. Any question? Guys, any questions so far? No, right?
Dinesh, we created a user as Jenkins in slave node, right?
Yes, correct. I didn't install any Jenkins server and all. Only I have created the user.
Oh, okay. It can be any name, right? As we have
No.
given Jenkins
The
there.
name should be same name as you have created in the master.
Okay. Because of name Jenkins itself, it's creating some.
Yeah, Jenkins is the name which you have created on the master. The same name you have to give it here. Suppose if you are renaming some name on the master, same name you have to use it in the server Jenkins here also. Fine. Jaya,
Yeah,
Aman,
yeah.
everyone. Saran, Maunika, everyone.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Now now what I need to do, guys? I have to copy the key, right? I have logged into slave and I have logged into master. Both Jenkins user I have logged in. Now, what is the step? I have to copy. I already generated SSH key, right? This is the time to copy this. Which key? Which key I need to copy? Your
Public
SSH, right?
Public.
Public key you have to copy from
Yeah.
the master to slave. How can I copy the public key from the master to slave?
Through SSH connectivity.
Through the SSH command. We have a command for that. In order to copy this, you have a separate command. what is the command? Say maybe let me go back. I will type SSH space SSH hyphen copy hyphen. I'm going to copy the ID. I'm going to copy the ID space hyphen I. So I have to use the username. What is the username of Jenkins? Jenkins is username at the rate of. There you are going to copy. Where you are going to copy from master to slave. Which IP address you have to give it? Master IP address or slave IP address?
Slave IP.
Slave
Slave
IP
IP.
address. So I will go here, go to the instance. We have a slave and copy this IP address and paste it. So you are going to copy the IP address from the master to the slave with the help of this particular command. So let me press enter. It is asking me to continue. Yes. And we are getting an error. What is an error? Permission denied. What are you seeing, guys? Permission denied.
Dinesh, you copied slave IP address.
We have to copy from master to slave, right? Then we have to give the slave IP address only, right?
Okay.
Where we are going to paste, right? In slave only we are going to paste.
Okay.
Yes. So that's the reason it is giving the permission denied. Guys, what do you think? Why permission denied? Do you have any idea on that? Why permission denied?
Maybe
We can
security.
provide a private key.
No, the entire SSH key I'm trying to copy from master to slave.
Here
It means
it's
that,
saying, one note saying that public key like that.
where is that?
Permission denied. After permission denied in
Yeah,
the
public key.
bracket.
I'm not able. Public key only I'm trying to copy, right?
Yeah.
It is giving the permission denied. Why? The Jaya said correct. Jaya said right. There is a security problem. Correct. On the slave node, maybe there is a security problem. If you go with the slave node, this is my slave node. In slave node, I will tell you where is the problem is coming. Right. So let me type. Let me write. Say for an example, I'm going to exit from the Jenkins user. Clear this. I'm the root user now. And I will write cd/etc. We have file, right? /etc. Press enter. If we type ls space -al and we have SSH right here. What is that? SSH. Here we have SSH. If we go inside SSH, ls space -al, there is a file called sst_config. sst_config. I will open this cd sst_config. Press enter. cd. What happened? Dash is not a directory. This one I'm trying to open. Okay, let me clear this. Type ls space -al. Okay, cd sst_config is the file. Right? What happened? Okay. So better, I will open this SSH config. I think it is not a directory. I'm sorry. It is not a directory. It is a two-word directory. This is not a directory file. It is actually. So let me open this. Say vi space sst_config. I will open. Press enter. And this is the file. When you come below on the slave node, when you come below on the slave node, and let me know. Can you see here? Password authentication, yes. Hash refers disabled. Password authentication, no. It got enabled. What is the meaning of this line, guys? What is the meaning?
Authentication is
Disabled.
yeah
Off,
disabled.
right? Disabled. In default, your password authentication is no. Now, what I need to do? I have to either make it as yes, or you at least have to uncomment here.
Yeah.
So let me uncomment. And I'm going to uncomment. And this is, I'm going to comment. It means that we are enabling the password authentication. Is that correct, guys?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Now I will save this file. I will save this file and I will go to this particular machine and let me try to copy now. When you try to copy, still I'm seeing the permission denied. I know the reason also. The reason maybe I have to restart the machine. I have to restart the server. That's the reason. So let me restart the server. How can I restart the server? Say I will restart it with help of system ctl space restart space ssh. I have to restart. Press enter. System ctl spelling is mistake. Restart. Okay, fine. Now let's check. Let's check. Let's copy. It is asking the password. It is asking the password for which machine? Master machine or slave machine?
Slave one.
Slave machine password. It is called password authentication. You remember I said, right? There is an authentication called password authentication. Authentication called password authentication. I'm doing that one. So let me give the password. Whatever the password I said. Now it is saying, hey, you are able to add that particular key. It got copied, guys. From the master to slave, it got copied. So if you want to check whether this particular key is available on the slave machine or not, I will show you. Where is that particular key is available? Public key, where is available? I will show you. So this is my slave node, I think so. This is my slave node or master node. So let's check. This is my master node, fine. And this is my slave node. Okay. So I will clear this. I will log in as a Jenkins user, su space hyphen Jenkins. su space hyphen Jenkins. And I will type a command cd dot ssh. When you press enter, ls space hyphen al. Can you see one file got generated? Authorized key file. It has the public key. Let me show that one. Authorized key. Press enter. Can you see here? This is the public key, guys, that you have copied from your master to slave. This is the file you have copied from master to slave. Am I clear?
Yeah.
Now the question is, I said, right, passwordless authentication. Now let's check. SSH space Jenkins at the rate of, and you have to give the slave IP address. Where is the slave IP address? Slave IP address is this one, and then paste it. Now when you press enter, will it ask the password or not? We'll check it. Press enter. Can you see here? It is not asking the password. It is not asking the password. Then we have established the passwordless authentication with help of SSH key generation. You no need to send the password, guys. Now, can you see here? It is saying, hey, welcome to CentOS Minimal. This is the machine, which is a slave machine. It can be able to connect with your slave machine. Can you see here? Jenkins at the rate of 95206. 95206, right? Can you see here? Both are same. That means that you can be able to log into your slave machine with help of your master without your password. How? With help of SSH connectivity. You have copied the key from the master to slave. Before copying the key from master to slave, it asks the password. But after copying the key from master to slave, it is not asking the password. Hereafter, you no need to send any password. Are you clear?
Yeah.
Now let's see. Yeah, tell me.
So if I create some files in slave, so then I can.
No need to
able
create
to
a
see
file
the-
in the slave machine. See, in master, suppose if you want to, say for an example, I want to run some job, where it will be executed. It will be executed on slave machine.
Okay.
I will tell you. See, practically we'll see. Now, in manage Jenkins, we have a node, right? We have a node which is manage nodes and cloud. When you click on this, so for how many nodes are available? Can you tell me how many nodes are available? Only one node.
One.
This node is the master node. Built-in node, it's a default node of your master node. In this particular machine, only one node is available. Now, if you want to connect or if you want to add one more node, you can click on this new node and you can give some name. Say for an example, this is my slave node. Like that, I'm giving some name. And this slave node is the permanent node, right? Let me click on this permanent agent and click on create. And I have created the slave node. And say for an example, this is one slave node which connected to built-in node or main node or master node. Just connected to master node. Now, number of executor, what it refers? Number of executor means how many parallel execution you are going to do with respect to slave node. Whether are you going to do 3 parallel execution or 4 parallel execution? How many concurrent operation that you are going to perform on the slave node? As of now, it is a default one. In real time, suppose for an example, some people, they will do the parallel execution. Do you know, guys, what is parallel execution? What is parallel execution? Can you tell me what is?
Simultaneously executing number of files.
Exactly. Say, suppose, as an automation tester, there's a guy called automation tester. This automation tester, he has written some script. He has written some script in order to test your Flipkart.com. Flipkart.com. Now, you guys can test your Flipkart.com in the Chrome browser. But your client is saying, hey, can you execute this on Firefox also? Because Firefox, whether it is giving the correct output or not, same Flipkart.com, you can automate in the Edge browser also. The one way is you can do it one by one, but it will take a time, right? Suppose Chrome browser taking 3 hours, Firefox 3 hours, Edge browser is 3 hours, totally you have to invest 9 hours. But the same script, Flipkart.com, that I want to execute in parallel, how many hours it will take it? 3 hours, right? Yes or no?
Yeah.
3 hours. So in the same way, suppose if you have any parallel execution and all, if you want, say for an example, 3, number of executor, you can make it as 3 thread will be generated. Suppose if you are making it as 5, maximum 5 parallel execution, we can do it. But default, we can keep it as 1 as of now. And what is the remote root directory? Remote root directory, go with the slave machine. Check what is the remote root directory. Remote root directory. So to understand this one, so there is a command called present working directory. If you give it, what is the remote root directory, guys? /home/Jenkins. Jenkins is the username. Home is the default directory. So this is the default directory of your slave node. Remote means slave. Remote means slave. And if you want to give some label means kind of a tag name. If you want to apply some tag name, you can apply it. Say I'm giving this is slave node. Like that, you can give it some name also. Or slave node, new slave node. New slave node. Like that I can. And launch method. So how we are going to communicate from master to slave? Using the SSH, right? Or you can go for some controller also. But in my case, I have used the SSH. I'm going to launch the agent via SSH. For SSH, you have to give them host IP address. So for your server, you have an IP address, right? Or you can have the domain name. Either you can pass this DNS name, public DNS name or private DNS name, or public address, you can give it, IP address. So let me copy simple IP address. For your slave node, you can give it here. And you have to add the credential also. Which credential? You guys can add the credential. You can add the credential. Say normal username and password. If you have, you can pass it. Suppose if you are going to use some GitHub where you have a username and password, you can give it. Or you can pass some secret file and all. We are using the SSH, right? I can use the SSH. SSH username with a private key, I'm going to pass it. SSH username. Username is Jenkins. And the private key you already know. So let me click on this enter key. I'm going to add the private key. Where I can get the private key? Where it is available, private key? Private key is available in the your master machine, correct?
Yeah.
Private key is
Yes,
available in the
sir.
master machine. Where is it available? You remember? So let me exit from this. Or you can go also, no problem. cd/var/lib/Jenkins here /.ssh. Sudo, okay, sudo provision required. Better I can exit. I can exit. And then I will exit. a root user. Now let me check. cd/var/lib/Jenkins /.sh. Now if you type ls space -al, you have a private key, right? I can open the private key. cat/id_rse. Press enter. This is the private key. This is the private key you have to copy. Enter private key you have to copy. You can copy this private key and add this key here. You have to add the private key. Now simple. Click on add and you can use Jenkins. Apart from this, nothing is required. Only this thing information you have to add it. So one is we have added number of not remote root directory. And if you want to give some label name, you can give it. If you don't want, you don't need to give the label name. And launch method via SSH, slave IP address, and username and private key out add it. That's it. Click on save. When you click on save, it will create the slave node, guys. If you are seeing an error, it means that slave node is not created. So it will take some time. It will take some time, guys, to create it. So let me check what is the statistics. So I will see slave node. Yes, got created successfully. Slave node it got created. So it is showing, right? I have a slave node. What is that? Next, suppose I will tell you how I will prove this one, how your master and slave works. Suppose I will create a new job. Say this is master slave task test pre-shell project. Click on OK. Now let me come below. Can you see one option here? Restrict where the project can be run. Where it should run? It should run on my slave node. What is the name I have given? I have given new slave node, right? Label name. Or you can give the name also, that's your wish. Or you can give the label name. It is your wish. See, label new slave node matches one node, right? So this is where I need to execute my script. This is where my master will give the task to the slave. This slave will take care of the work. Let me prove. So come below and I will go to the build step. I will execute some shell. Here I will add echo. Simple, this is executed by slave, not master. Not master. Simple message I have written. Click on apply, click on save. Now let me build this job. I will build the job. When you click on build now, and I can see this job, console output. See who has executed this job. Build remotely on slave node. And if you want to prove, let me copy this location and I will go to the slave node. And this is my slave node, right? This is my slave node. And I can write cd space here. I have executed my code from master, but I can see right here the test, master slave test, how it is available. How it come here? Because I have done the master slave integration. That's the reason I can able to redirect your task from master to your slave node in the job level. So before that, directly you cannot go ahead and you cannot create the nodes and all. It will not allow, guys. So can I try? Can I try to create a job? See, suppose if you have a manage Jenkins, manage node, I will try to add a new node. And here you have to give the node name. Say I will give one node number 2, like that I'm giving. And I am selecting this the permanent node. I'm clicking on create node number 2. And you have to give the remote root directory. Say I'm giving /home/Jenkins I'm giving. And the label name I have to give it. Say this is node number 2, like that I'm giving some name. And launch method. Here, agent via SSH, I have to give the host. Say for an example, I will take this particular machine. I will refresh this. I will connect this one. Connect this one. Start this particular instance. We'll see. Let's wait for a time. Right, refresh. No, still it is not done. Wait. Okay, let me still it is running. Why this much time it's taking? I think maybe I'm using the pre version. It is not allowing me to create the multiple servers. Is that reason? And also all are T2 medium CentOS machine. Maybe due to that reason. Okay, fine, no issues. So what will happen if I copy the public IP address and if I given to this Jenkins server, right? I can give the host, I can give the credential, everything. But if you click on save, right, it will not create the new node at all. Because this node is not yet connected with your master node. We didn't establish any SSH connectivity. If we are not doing SSH connectivity, we cannot create the node on the server machine. We cannot create the nodes on master machine. Only if we establish SSH connectivity, then only I can able to create. Yeah, it's working now. Let me copy this public IP address and I can go to this Jenkins server and I will try to give this IP address and I can use Jenkins is the same, right? Same private key I'm going to use it. And that's it. That's it. Let me click on save. We'll see whether it is working or not. This is the node 2 we have created. We'll see. Node 2. This is still launching. Click on this. See log for more details. Can you see here? Key exchange was not finished. Connection is closed. Retrying in 15 seconds. Why we are seeing an error? Key exchange is not happened, right? From the master to slave. So we cannot do that one. So if you want to connect this particular node, then retrying. Still keep on retrying. First of all, you have to establish the SSH connectivity. Then only you can be able to create the node. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
You may wonder, right, why I'm doing on the Jenkins server, why I'm doing on the command prompt. Both we have to do. Command prompt, where we are making SSH connectivity. But the establishment server, you have to create it on the UI level, the GUI level. Don't think like anyone can come here and anyone can be able to create the node. No, we cannot create the node and all. Only if we can able to create the node, when you make an SSH key, you have to generate from the master and that you have to copy from the master to slave. That's what I have explained so far. All this detail, you can find it in this particular notes, guys. Step by step I have given. Just to follow this instruction, that way you can able to establish a master slave architecture. Everything I have given step by step. You just operate. So I plan to take Maven today, but I have another session. But anyway, let's discuss tomorrow Maven and pipeline that I will cover tomorrow. But as of now, are you clear, guys, how to establish master slave?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Right. Guys, do practice. Follow the instruction from the document. Same thing you can implement in your real time also, if it is required. We'll see tomorrow, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.